Static headlines crawl, red string on a bedroom wall. Every name that we can't say out loud still hangs in the air like a storm cloud. Secret flights on midnight planes, they scrub the logs, they change the names. Smiling on our TV screens, their teeth drip through the in-between. Epstein files in a locked up drawer, black ink spilled over every door. Just a rumor till it hits the floor. How much can you hide before it's war? Burn the quiet files, turn the whispers into trials. If the truth is such a threat, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Raise your hands, deny every scripted lullaby. If the truth is just a lie they fed, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Strange Conspiracies. I appreciate you guys all being here tonight. I will tell you, compared to last week, I am feeling better. I do have a lingering cough still, unfortunately, so you may have to bear with me a little bit. Hopefully it won't be another episode of, I think, was it Franklin or was it Eduardo? I can't remember who said it, but last week they said it was Strange Cough-spiracies. So we may have another evening like that. Hopefully not. But man, I appreciate you guys jumping in. Franklin, Eduardo, Josh, good to see you in here. Vincent, Catherine, Tim, Robin. Let's see. Got a bunch of folks in here starting off tonight. So definitely appreciate each and every one of you being here and hanging out. Dylan, how you doing? So yeah, tonight, guys, we're going to talk about the Alaskan Triangle. You may be familiar with it. There's a lot of things that happen there. It seems to be, some Bigfoot stuff, probably more so like violent Bigfoot stuff. It tends to be more violent, it seems like, in this region. There's also talks of this dark pyramid, which puts out some sort of magnetic force. They believe maybe it's military related or a hidden government secret. So there's alien stuff there. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff that happens in this area. And a lot of people have gone missing. So tonight we're going to kind of dive into that. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you checked out last week's episode. It was a really good one. Bobby really interesting guy to talk to, and his story is pretty fascinating. So I hope you guys had a chance to check that out. I always appreciate, when you guys comment on those videos. It means a lot. So Sophia, how are you doing? Yep, definitely better, Sophia. Still have a lingering cough, so we're going to push through. Eduardo, how are you doing, man? So, also update, we are getting a little bit closer. Me and Josh are going to do a little bit more filming next week. We're going to try to get close to wrapping up this documentary on the true crime cold case that I've been teasing you guys about for months now, it seems like. So we are getting closer on that, and hopefully I'm going to have some stuff to share with you. Just some teasers to share with you sooner than later. So that is in the works. So I wanted to kind of jump in and give you guys some background on the Alaskan Triangle. So it's the area lying between the connected points of, I'm not going to say this right, Utqiagvik, Anchorage, and Juneau. They're often referred to as the borders of the Alaskan Triangle. It's estimated that over 20,000 people have gone missing in this area of the state in the last 50 years. That's a lot of people. So if you figure that out, that's like 2,200, like I said, like 2,250 people roughly a year ago missing there. This area of Alaska gained its fame in 1972 when a Cessna 310 carrying House Majority Leader Hale Boggs, he was a representative, they were flying over Anchorage and Juneau, according to the U.S. House of Representatives, and I guess their plane went down and it vanished. A search was conducted for 39 days before being suspended. No human remains or parts of the plane were ever recovered. So it seems to be like the thing with these triangles. You know, we have the Bermuda Triangle, very similar to kind of the Alaskan Triangle, and it makes you wonder what's really going on. You know, when you fly planes and stuff over these triangles, these areas, it's like your electronic systems go down. Weird anomalies start happening, and people seem to vanish. Where are they going? That's the question. So, but we are going to do some call-ins later too tonight. So if you guys want to call in, I'll put the number on the screen shortly, and we'd love to have you call in. We're going to take as many call-ins tonight as we can get. So yeah, there's a lot of that happens, Eduardo. A lot of people that go missing. The Bermuda Triangle is also kind of a crazy one. So very similar. Let's see here. So just some of the things that have happened there. Like I said, there's a lot. There's missing hikers, vanished airplanes, hunters that disappear, UFO sightings, cryptid, Bigfoot stories, strange lights, and then there's the magnetic anomaly theories. So this politician, Hale Boggs, is one of the largest ones. And this was, like I said, back in 1972. And it's just really mysterious how he went missing. And like there was no recovery, nothing. Still to this day, there's just nothing about this guy. So it's pretty wild. I was going to show you guys this video. It kind of gives you a little bit more background on this. You guys check this out.
The overhyped perils of the Bermuda Triangle have become the stuff of modern-day folklore. Fewer people, however, know about the so-called Alaska Triangle, said to be the location of more unsolved missing persons cases than anywhere else in the world. The Alaska Triangle is a loosely defined area in the state between the 3 points of Anchorage and Juneau in the south and Utqiagvik, a small remote city found on the northern coast. It's estimated that well over 20,000 people have vanished in this vast swathe of land since the early 1970s. For the whole of Alaska, it works out to be an average of 2,250 people disappearing every year, twice the national average, many of which appear to occur in this triangle of ultra-rugged land. Some of the highest profile people to go missing in the Alaska Triangle are Thomas Hale Boggs Sr., who was serving as the US House Majority Leader, and Nick Begich, an Alaska congressman. In October 1972, the two politicians disappeared when flying in a light aircraft from Anchorage to Juneau, alongside Begich's aide, Russell Brown, and the pilot, Don Johns. A massive search effort was launched to find the four missing people, but neither the bodies nor the plane were ever discovered. Given these mysterious circumstances, the incident has sparked a number of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a little bit more background on this Alaskan Triangle and kind of all the things that are going on over there. Port Chatham is another crazy one. It falls in the Alaskan Triangle perimeter. Yeah, there's a town apparently over here as well. It's a pretty popular story. There's a lot of conspiracy around it. The actual truth of it, I think it's kind of muddy. What's it called? It's called, hold on, let me pull it up. Yeah, it's Port Lock, Alaska. So kind of the story on this is that it's an abandoned town. And the reason this is abandoned, a lot of the folklore around the town is that the folks that lived there, it was kind of a small Alaskan settlement, and it was abandoned several years ago. Apparently it was a town that was kind of like attacked by very vicious Bigfoot, Yeti. And so there's stories of people that were being dragged into the woods, mutilated bodies that were found, and giant hairy creatures stalking the area. The locals allegedly called this thing the Nantinaq. So what scares me is not that the outsiders told these stories, it's that the villagers themselves fled. And so they actually fled this town after time when several people were missing, their bodies were mutilated. And so it's kind of a ghost town to this day. And I think there's been talks of maybe trying to reestablish this as a small city or something in Alaska. But that story alone is pretty terrifying. The Portlock, Alaska. It's there's a lot out there about it. Some people claim that that's strictly folklore, but I don't know. You guys should definitely, if you get a chance, kind of dig into that a little bit more and check it out. Hey, what's up, Ashes? Welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah, the story of Portlock is definitely a really weird one. So basically, some more on that. It's an abandoned coastal ghost town on the Kenai Peninsula, known for its sudden 1949 evacuation, which was driven by legends of murderous Bigfoot-like creatures called the Nanatinak. Once a thriving canary town, its inhabitants fled after unsolved disappearances and mutilated bodies were discovered in the nearby forest. It remains entirely abandoned today. Yeah, and so the term, the Nanatinak, I guess that's what they're calling Sasquatch, but it's kind of really tied to Alaskan folklore. And the story of Portlock is just crazy. So some of the stuff about this Nanatinak, this large Bigfoot-like creature, very territorial aggression. He has a lot of territorial aggression. Kind of unlike traditional Bigfoot accounts, the Nanatinak is portrayed as exceptionally violent, with legends detailing it ripping apart mammals and being responsible for gruesome deaths. It has a lot of supernatural traits. So the creature is spiritual in nature, sometimes appearing human adjacent or capable of speech. So that's kind of unique. And so again, this, the Nanatinak creature that's blamed for a series of disappearances, mysterious deaths in the late 1940s that forced residents to abandon the canary town of Portlock. So it's definitely a very aggressive creature, Bigfoot creature. Probably one that I'm glad we don't really have so much of in the States. Franklin says they have way more disappearances in Alaska than we have in the lower 48. That's for sure. That's for sure. There's also something, and I haven't really dug into this too much. It's just something I've heard a long time ago about kind of an alien, I would say, conspiracy. It involves white owls, a certain town where folks would see white owls kind of hanging out outside their windows. And they would see these owls. They would be there for days, weeks, months. And then those folks would end up getting, abducted by aliens and stuff. And so there's a lot to that too. There's a lot of weird stuff that seems to happen in Alaska. Absolutely, Sophia. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. It's an area that I would like to visit, just for, good, especially in the summer months, good fishing, lots of wildlife. So it'd be kind of cool to go out there and check it out. Hey, what's going on, Trevor Archer? How are you doing? Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Tonight's all about the Alaskan Triangle. So if you guys have any, stories of weird phenomena in your life, it can be related to Bigfoot, Sasquatch, aliens, anything of the nature. Here soon we're going to put the number up on the screen. You guys call in. We'd love to hear your stories. So I'll put the number up now. You guys call in whenever you want. But so the stories just keep getting crazier in this triangle section of Alaska. There's just a lot to it, and it can go so many different ways. Like I was telling you, from this town of Portlock, where there was vicious Bigfoot, just gruesomely just killing folks and cause them to abandon the place. Aircrafts, they're going missing. The weirdest one for me, though, is this underground pyramid theory. This one's kind of crazy, and honestly, there's a lot of pyramids around the world, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's one in this section of Alaska that may be underground. It's a giant underground pyramid that exists near Mount Hayes. Apparently, the military knows about it. It causes strange energy or electromagnetic effects, which, excuse me, that would explain, planes like flying over the area, potentially losing um, their technology and how they're operating the plane and causing crashes. Let's see. Franklin says, "Yeah, I remember at first they think it's an owl, but it's really gray." Yeah, it's gray or white. I think it's a white owl though, and it's like actually an alien. There's something about that. I haven't really dug into that too much. It's just something that came to mind while talking about this. There's also some crazy stories that come out of here. Not only like the pyramid, there's also a creature that's kind of tied to this as well. They call it the Kushtaka. It's a mythical creature found in the stories of the Tlingit and the Tishimian Native Americans of southeastern Alaska. So loosely translated, the Kushtaka means land otter man. So this is apparently like a mythical creature that is half otter, half man. It says physically, the Kutashkas are shapeshifters capable of assuming either human form or the form of an otter. In some accounts, a Kutashka is able to assume the form of any species of otter. In others, only one. Accounts of their behavior seem to conflict with one another. In some stories, the Kutashka are cruel creatures who take delight in tricking poor sailors to their deaths. In others, they are friendly and helpful, frequently saving the lost from death by freezing, which that happens in many stories. They also are known to save the lost individual by distracting them with curiously otter-like illusions of their family and friends as they transform their subject into a fellow Kutashka, thus allowing him to survive in the cold. Naturally, this is counted a mixed blessing. He's saving you from the cold, but he's also essentially ending your life as a human. But they're not always pleasant. In some legends, it said that the Kushtaka will imitate the cries of a baby or the screams of a woman to lure victims to the river. Once there, the Kushtaka either kills the person and tears them to shreds, or will turn them into another Kushtaka. So I've got a photo of these things. This is not like a real photo of this thing. It's like an AI generated photo, but that way you can get an idea of what these things look like. So apparently it's kind of a mythical creature. It's essentially a shapeshifter that can half otter, half man, that will lure sailors to death or help you. I guess it just depends on the person, maybe. Hey, what's up, Skidder? How are you doing? It's good to see you. Glad you're here with us, hanging out. So, yeah, we're kind of going over the... Skidder says the natives say Kushtaka. So you can kind of get an idea. There's just a lot that happens in Alaska. A lot of different folklore, different things. So some of the weird stuff that kind of ties into all this. Is we talked about a little bit the disappearance of Hale Boggs. He was a Democratic House representative from Louisiana, House Majority Leader. In 1972, he was aboard a Cessna plane, which was flying from Anchorage to Juneau. He, with another congressman, an aide, and a pilot, disappeared into the Alaska Triangle on the way to a fundraising dinner. The search for the plane and the missing congressman went on for over a month, but there was no trace found of the plane or any human remains ever found. And then there's a lot of talk about hikers who go missing. Apparently in Alaska, they have a yearly mountain marathon race which takes place in Seward, Alaska. It's a grueling 3-mile trail with over 3,000 feet of elevation change. Hundreds of runners flock to the small town, each having won a race number in a competitive lottery. So one of the guys who went missing was Michael Lemaitre. He was in good shape. He was an older gentleman and slower than the other racers. Race officials were packing up the course when they last saw Lemaitre a scant 200 feet below the mountain peak. They encouraged him to finish the race, expecting he'd be back down the mountain in no time. He not only didn't finish the race, but was never seen again. To this day, no trace of him has ever been found. There's no straightforward explanation for what could have happened to him during a crowded race event. It just goes to show how easy it is to disappear in Alaska. Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of creepy stuff that happens in Alaska. Fred in Alaska, Skidder says Fred in Alaska is a native that goes into Kushtaka attacks, kidnapping, Sabarak, Alaska, Sasquatch. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, there's a lot of folklore about this Kushtaka and kind of the different things. What kind of encounters, Sophia, does your brother have to share? Because we'd love to hear him on this channel. I've got the number up, so you guys feel free to call in if you feel inclined to do so. So also, we talked about already, but Bigfoot, or what we talked about in Portlook, Alaska, they're known as the Nanatinak. Apparently there's a lot of sightings and different things that happen with Bigfoot, kind of dating back to the 1930s. And the sightings tend to be more sinister with more violent aggression from the Sasquatch in this area. Mysterious disappearances, violent murders, mutilations, just a lot of different things. So there's definitely a lot there. So kind of back to the Nanatinak, the Bigfoot there. This is the one from Portlock where the town's abandoned. It's a ghost town to this day. It's actually the most well-known Bigfoot story in all of Alaska. So it's pretty well known. There was actually an eyewitness named Joe Morris. He's had not one, but 2 Bigfoot sightings in Alaska. His first encounter occurred while he was working at a remote lodge. During a break, he and a friend decided to drive to the toe of the nearby Root Glacier to relax and take in the scenery. As they made their way along the road, they spotted something that neither of them had ever seen before: a Bigfoot with remarkably human-like features. Morris described the creature as standing upright with a face that bore a striking resemblance to that of a human. It was covered in dark hair and moved with a fluid, almost graceful gait. The sighting was brief, but it left an impression on Morris, who couldn't shake the feeling that he had witnessed something truly extraordinary. Years later, in 2022, he had a second encounter while hiking a trail near the location of his first sighting. He came across another Bigfoot, but this one was far larger and more imposing than the first. He estimated the creature stood around 12 feet tall and weighed between 2,500 and 3,000 pounds. Truly, it was massive and awe-inspiring sight. So again, there's just many eyewitness encounters of Bigfoot in Alaska in general. The high rate of mysterious disappearances in the Alaska Triangle has also fueled speculation about the presence of Bigfoot in the region. Since the 1970s, an estimated 20,000 people have gone missing in this remote area, which spans from Juneau to Anchorage to Barrow. While many of these disappearances can be attributed to the harsh and unforgiving nature of the Alaskan wilderness, some researchers believe that Bigfoot may be responsible for at least a portion of these cases. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence linking Bigfoot to disappearances in the Alaska Triangle comes from a pair of travelers who found themselves stranded in a remote mountain pass during a snowstorm. According to their account, they encountered not one, but two massive, hairy creatures that exhibited aggressive and threatening behavior towards them. The creatures were described as standing over 9 feet tall, with broad shoulders and long, shaggy hair. The travelers managed to escape to safety of their vehicle, but the encounter left them shaken and convinced that they had to come face to face with something truly extraordinary. So that's just some more kind of the crazy stuff that happens over there. Skitter says every species has rogues. Yeah, there's probably going to be hybrids and different mixed breeds of, all these different cryptids and things. So definitely depending on the location, I'm sure that plays a part into it. Hey, Chris, how are you doing? Appreciate you jumping in and hanging out with us. Sophia says lots of electromagnetic fields also. Yeah, the Northern Lights phenomena too. That's, we've actually seen a lot of that. Typically we don't see that in Arkansas, but I think 3 or 4 times over the past year and a half, we've been able to see it. So not always with the naked eye, but sometimes you have to have like a camera device. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Like I said, I'm still kind of got a lingering cough, getting over it, but so that's just some of the other stuff that goes on in Alaska and this Alaskan Triangle. It makes you kind of wonder, like I said, it's got to be tied to the Bermuda Triangle. Just in the same sense, just a lot of weird stuff that happens between the two. I'm trying to pull up this. I've got another video I'm going to show you guys. There's not so many eyewitness accounts that I could find with like video evidence of like real encounters that were filmed in this part of Alaska. I'm sure there's some out there somewhere, but I wasn't able to find too much as far as, actual videos people had recorded on their phones. So you guys know I like to show you videos. So this one's about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes long. It kind of gives you a little bit more detail on that pyramid I was talking about. Apparently it's buried under the ground. It's like a dark pyramid, is what they call it. Apparently it's a military installation, as Conspiracy says it. So you guys can be the judge of that, but it's definitely intriguing. Let's check this out.
It is one of the biggest unsolved mysteries of my career.
And evidence is now coming to light of what could be one of the greatest military and government cover-ups.
Why would they hide this? Why would they bury this story?
It's a mystery that would spark an extraordinary conspiracy theory.
Why aren't more people interested in this, one of the biggest stories on the planet?
This is the story of the Dark Pyramid. Of all the extraordinary reports to have come out of Alaska, the most bizarre must be that somewhere in the wilderness there's a giant pyramid of unknown origin, the existence of which is known only to a few select people. The journey begins in Dayton, Ohio, over 2,000 miles from Alaska. It's a center of the defense and aeronautical industries. It's also home to former Army Chief Warrant Officer Doug Muchler. For 15 years, Doug worked in U.S. counterintelligence.
Counterintelligence agent. Investigated espionage terrorism against the United States.
In 1989, Doug was posted to Fort Richardson on the outskirts of Anchorage, Alaska.
When I arrived in Alaska in '89, in September, first thing you do is orientate yourself to your AO, area of operation. So I went and got some maps. So when I was putting the maps up, there was this one area. It was whited out. This area not surveyed to date. And I'm looking at the whole of Alaska. I mean, that's a big place, and it's all been surveyed. except this one area. And with my counterintelligence background, I was like, they're hiding something. It's not my business. I let it go.
Doug was used to working on a need-to-know basis. But a few years later, an extraordinary event magnified his suspicions.
Move forward to 1992. I was sitting there watching TV in the orderly room, and there's a news program on. And they're talking about the detonation of a nuclear device in China. Part of the story was that geologists used that detonation to get a better picture of the crust and mantle of the Earth.
The news report stated that the explosion was so great that it sent shockwaves underground through the fabric of the Earth. These shockwaves traveled over 4,000 miles all the way to Alaska, where they were picked up by earthquake monitoring stations. By analyzing these waves, scientists could tell the density of the rock they passed through. And they detected what appeared to be an enormous subterranean structure shaped like a perfect pyramid.
They said in Alaska, a pyramid was found, larger than the one in Giza. They showed it on the map. And the whited out area I saw earlier in '89, they correlated. Same area.
So just a kind of brief video, kind of talking more about that pyramid. So there's a lot of conspiracy and different theories about what is this triangle, what's fueling all the weird phenomena in this triangle. I believe it's a lot of different things all tied together. So appreciate you sharing that, Franklin. Yeah, the email is strangeconspiracies88@gmail.com. Mandy, it's good to see you. Appreciate you jumping in, hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. So one thing, question you guys think about, we can debate this in the chat a little bit, but what do you think is scarier? The Alaskan Triangle itself has got all this weird phenomena, it's paranormal, or that it's just nature proving how powerless humans really are? Kind of makes you wonder. So some of the kind of theories behind what's fueling all this going on is there's a lot, but the harsh wilderness is probably the most realistic theory of like why all these folks are going missing, what's going on in this area. I guess you could say experts believe this because it's the most realistic and they don't necessarily probably believe in all these things. But, you know, Alaska does have brutal storms, whiteout conditions, freezing temperatures, glaciers, mountains that can interfere with aircraft. And there's huge areas with almost no people. So it's easy to disappear fast. And just searching for somebody would be extremely difficult. So looks like, guys, actually we're getting someone calling in. Let's take this call here. Hey, this is Cody. Welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Josh?
Man, just thought I'd call in and say, hey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. You got any cool stories you want to share with us?
Oh man, I've got so many, man. 3 years of doing this, I've got tons. But you know, the Alaskan Triangle is a really strange place. I don't think people understand, unless you've been there, how big, you know, Alaska is, how much wilderness there is there. And you know, there's a lot of people, I think it's the place where people go missing the most, which is kind of strange, you know?
Yeah. No, it's definitely pretty vast and definitely you know, cool place to visit. Don't know if I could survive there living there.
Yeah, it'd be rough. I got family that live up there, and you know, they talked about how big it is and how vast it is. But you know, it seems to be. I know you were talking earlier about how some of these encounters are more aggressive up there. I don't get that many encounters sent to me from Alaska, but you know, the stuff that I have sent to me from there, it's pretty scary stuff, man. These things get pretty aggressive up there for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stories of that, and a lot of you know, kind of mutilating. You know, bodies being mutilated, gruesome, really gruesome stuff that's happening over there, or was.
Yeah. I don't know if you've looked into Portlock, if you talked about that or looked up that much, but that's a pretty strange place, man. A lot of controversy about that. I definitely would like to go there someday, but, supposedly that place, was taken over by Bigfoot that, basically ran off a lot of people. I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Actually, we talked a little bit about that earlier, and kind of the theory about, Bigfoot potentially being the reason these people abandon this area and mutilating folks. And it's just pretty gruesome.
It is, man. It's the side of stuff that, like last week on the show, I had a gentleman on. They had a decent Bigfoot encounter, but, most of the time it's generally the other way. And I think these things can be extremely aggressive and territorial. But for whatever reason, Alaska, man, they seem to be just really, really territorial. And, makes you wonder if it's just because the place is so vast and there's not as many people there, or what the deal is. But it's pretty strange, man. So I'm excited that you're talking about that tonight. It's an interesting place.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you calling in and hanging out with us. You got any stories you want to share with us? Anything you heard recently that you can share?
Man, there's always something. I will give you just like a little bit snippet of an encounter I got coming up. And there's a guy who reached out, and he's from the state of Washington. I know it's nothing to do with Alaska, but he had some family that he grew up in, or not. His son's mom was Native American. I don't remember what tribe they were, but he had to learn all about their culture because he was trying to teach his son. And they went out to this property in Washington, and I don't remember exactly where, but long story short, he ended up having a Bigfoot encounter. But prior to that, a few years later, he kind of got lost and turned around in the woods, and he started to whistle in the woods. And he says it's really strange because after he did that, he heard a bunch of figures moving around, people, whatever they were, moving around the woods. And his uncle came back to him and, stopped him from whistling and stuff and told him, you don't do that out in the woods. And long story short, that whole night, man, they were just kind of like heard noises out in the woods and things were happening. And he left a bunch of tobacco for these, what he thinks is maybe connected to the Bigfoot encounter he had later on. And so, I get this kind of stuff every single week. And, it's so strange. That's why, you're doing this, because it's stories and trying to get that stuff out there, man. But yeah, there's just so much. It's such a strange world. It doesn't matter if you're in Alaska or in Arkansas like we're at, but these encounters are all over the place. And what's cool is there's something from everybody's encounter that lines up. These people don't even know each other, but there's some kind of thread that ties these things together. And that's what keeps me coming back and doing it and listening to shows like yours. And, the community is really cool. But yeah, that's something coming up. So.
No, hey, I appreciate you sharing that with us and calling in, and always glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, bud. Absolutely, man. I hope you do good, man. And we'll continue to watch.
Yeah. Hey, man, have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you in the chat.
All right, buddy. See you.
Bye. I always appreciate when Josh calls in. Yeah, Ashes, that was Josh. Skidder says mounted as skidder tire today. I'm give out. I don't blame you. That's a lot of work. So I know you're always doing a lot of work over there. So make sure you get a lot of rest and kind of rest up. The Bigfoot therapist. Yeah, I think he's been wanting to get some shirts made on that. So if you guys have any stories or anything you'd like to share, make sure you call in. We got the link below. But, there's a lot of theories, again, back to this Alaskan Triangle, like what's causing it. And so my opinion is that all this stuff's tied together. I'm sure people do go missing just based on the harsh wilderness there. It is beautiful. And Sophia, that's really cool that you mentioned that you have some family living there. I would love to visit. One of my favorite YouTube channels is the Outdoor Boys, and they live in Alaska and camp all over it and stuff. And so definitely, good place to connect with nature. So one of my bucket list trips is to get out there and do some camping and stuff. There's also this theory, though, back to this, it's that there's this electromagnetic or magnetic anomaly theory. This kind of ties into, some people say that that's really what the Northern Lights stem from. they're saying that this area has compass malfunctions, strange lights, radio interference, and aircrafts have a hard time navigating in this region. They think there's a natural magnetic anomaly beneath Alaska, which is affecting all these things. And this kind of gets tied into the disappearances because apparently, like, pilots will become disoriented and they'll crash, and then it's just never found because it's so vast, right? And that's kind of the thought on the also Bermuda Triangle is that, and that's more over open water, but that triangle also has some sort of magnetic pulse or something maybe beneath the ocean, which is messing with these electronics and causing these crashes. And of course, finding something in the bottom of the ocean can be a challenge. And we talked about it a little bit already, but the underground pyramid theory. This is probably the craziest major theory. I personally think it's real, that there could very well be an underground pyramid. There's a lot of, I would say, probably military tech and stuff that we don't know about that happens, and things that go on in Alaska. There's actually a guy that I can't think of his name right now, but if you guys are tuned into other shows, he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast several different times. He lives in Alaska, and he has a piece of property where things are thawing out a little bit, and he's uncovering like mammoth bones, like woolly mammoth bones, all kinds of different things that are kind of proving that Alaska used to be a pretty populated, vast place. He's finding all kinds of stuff. Like, I think he said maybe even some saber-toothed tiger teeth. Just like he has like a whole huge building full of all these things. So I'm going to think of his name and I'll share that with you guys because you should check it out. He posts all kinds of photos, videos. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah, it's definitely got a part of the Army. I think this was a couple months ago. I don't know if I shared this on here or if we talked about it, but I saw some people who went to, I think it was Antarctica, and they were filming, and there was a part of it where like almost like an ice wall, and it was guarded by the military, and they wouldn't let these people get near the wall, even try to attempt to climb the wall. Nothing. It was like guarded, which is kind of weird. And so this is a video that circulated on social media not too long ago, a few months ago. Yeah, if you guys have any stories, please share with me. I will tell you, one of the biggest challenges that I face on, doing this is we like to have, an actual it's a pre-recorded episode we do every Friday. And, fortunately I've had a lot of great guests, and I have some guests coming up, but we always need more. And so if you guys have an interest in sharing, we talk about everything. We can talk about paranormal activity, ghost stories, Bigfoot, aliens. We can just talk conspiracies. I would love to have you email me at strangeconspiracies88@gmail.com. Would love to talk to you guys, have you on the show. I'm going to interview tomorrow with a guy that he's been on Josh's show, but he's a pretty fascinating guy. Just hearing him talk, I could probably listen to the guy talk all day. And so I think it's going to be a really good episode for you guys to check out on Friday. But I always need more guests. So if you guys have a story, you want to share it, Eduardo, I know you've called in before, and call me. Let's talk. Email me. I'd love to talk to you guys. Hey, what's up, Boone County? It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I got you. Yeah, no worries, but definitely trying to get guests. So if you guys have any friends, family, you want to share, we're always needing to have more guests so we can, continue bringing this show to you guys. So, yeah, Boneyard, Alaska, that's what it is. So appreciate that. I'm actually getting someone calling right now. Let's take this call. Hey, this is Cody. Thanks for calling the show.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
You said you need guests. I love your show.
I recognize this voice. What's going on, Daniel?
Hey, dude, no, for real. I've only told you my rake story. I haven't told you any of my Bigfoot encounters.
Hey, that's true. You did only share that. So,
yeah,
love to.
If you need anybody, man, just let me know. I'm always down to help you out, brother.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that, man. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. You got any cool Alaskan stories you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'll share you a couple. I'll tell you my dad's Kushtaka encounter if you want that.
Yeah. You say it much better than I do. I was calling it the Kushtaka, but I like the way you say it much better.
Oh, you're killing me. Oh, you're killing me, man. Oh. So the Kushtaka, otherwise known as the Otterman, is a southeastern Alaskan cryptid. It's a shapeshifter. And pretty much what happens is it's known to be mischievous, a trickster. It may help you, but it also may lead you to your demise. So when my dad was about 15 or 16 years old, he was going out into their property, out into the woods to gather a bunch of firewood. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has ever cut firewood, but when you cut a bunch of firewood, you stack it in place, you cover it, and then you go back and forth, with a wagon or wheelbarrow or whatever, and you bring back what you need. And this was one of those instances. So my dad goes out, he's pulling this wagon, and he says he was going out to solely get his this firewood, but I know my dad, he was out to smoke a cigarette, so he wouldn't get caught by my grandparents. So as he's walking out into these woods, he sees up ahead of him, coming around the bend in the path that's on their property in their woods, he sees this guy walking towards him. And he says this guy's giving him a weird vibe. He's very disheveled, very unkempt. And as he gets closer, my dad stops. And in no time, this guy's literally right in front of my dad. And he stops and he looks at my dad and he goes, "You got a cigarette?" And my dad just reaches in, grabs a couple cigarettes, gives him one. He puts it behind his ear. And he has the other one in his hand. And my dad starts reaching for his lighter to light it. And he just walks away. And as he's walking by, my dad's turning to watch him walk away. And about 10 feet behind my dad, where my dad is now facing him, so 10 feet in front of my dad, the guy turns and looks over his right shoulder and says, "You shouldn't be whistling in the woods." Because that's what my dad was doing as he was walking out. He was whistling, having a good time. My dad loved to whistle. When he was in a great mood, he'd whistle. And this guy tells him, you shouldn't whistle in the woods because you don't know what's out here. And my dad got a really, really weird vibe from this guy. So the guy starts walking again like he's going to walk into their backyard. But he takes like a 90-degree turn to the left and starts walking off into the woods. Now, these woods were not dense. These woods were pretty sparse. So you could see a good long ways into the woods. And he says he just disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Like he walked behind one of the trees and was gone. So that's my dad's encounter with the Kushtaka. Also up in Ketchikan, Alaska, around that area, my dad, I think it was right before he was either going to Vietnam or going to basic training, he wanted to get one more hunt in. And so he went down this logging road that he knows of, and that he had hunted this area. He's hunted this area plenty of times with my uncle, his uncles, his dad. And as he's driving down this road, he sees a herd of mule deer come down a hillside from the left, cross the road, and go down into a ravine on the right-hand side of the road. When the last one goes over, my dad jumps out of his car, has his rifle, has his bag, and he runs as fast as he can to where the mule deer just went down this hill. And he breaks out his binoculars and he's looking and he sees them going down through the bottom and going up on the other side of the ravine, up on this other hill, this other other hill across the way. And he's guessing 500-600 yards, an easy shot for my dad with the rifle that he's hunting with. And as he's looking left or right, because he's trying to count how many are still down before he decides he wants to take a shot at one, maybe on the other ridge, he sees something moving really quick from the left into his line of sight now. And so he puts the binoculars back over, and what he sees, he says, I saw the biggest wolf I had ever seen in my life. This wolf was massive, and it was jet black. He says it ran up to this tree and it stopped. And then it stood up on two legs.
Wow.
Put its hand, he said hand, up on the tree. And he's looking at where these muleys are in the area where they're at, but he starts sniffing the air. And he's looking around, he sniffs a couple of times. And as my dad's watching this thing through the binoculars, this thing's head snaps and makes eye contact with my dad. And it started showing its teeth. And my dad said he could see like the saliva coming out of his mouth. And my dad just sat there and froze and looked at it for a second. And then he said it dropped down on all fours and slowly started going down into the bottom of this ravine. Well, he immediately realizes that this is not a scenario he wants to get in, but he doesn't know how fast this thing's moving because it was moving pretty quick. So he grabs his rifle. Now he's starting to scope in. He's scoping the area, and he can't find it. Now he's starting to stress out. As soon as he decides that he may get up and leave, that's when he sees some of the brush down near the bottom starting to move. And he says this thing slowly pushed its head through this brush like it was slowly emerging like out of a cloud or something. But its teeth were still showing, and it was laser locked on where my dad was at. He had it in its scope now. Took his rifle off a safe and was just right. He says, I had this thing dead to rights. And then one of these muleys, they made a sound. Again, I couldn't tell you, did it hiccup, did it fart, did it burp, did it bugle? I don't know what sounds mule deers, probably a grunt or a snort or something. But it caught the attention of what my dad was looking at. Snapped its head to the left, backed up into the brush. My dad lost sight of it. He still had his scope down in the air. He was still looking at it. And that's when he saw it rushing up on the other side of the other side of the ravine. And he says, as it was climbing up this other side of this ridge, at like a 45-degree angle, it stopped. It stood up on two legs again and looked back at my dad and showed his teeth and then proceeded to run the rest of the way up the ridge and over the ridge on two legs. That's when my dad grabbed his stuff, ran back to his vehicle, and got the heck out of there. Now, I asked him, I go, what did you see? And to the day that he passed away, my dad swears that he saw a werewolf.
Wow.
So,
man. Yeah. Everybody in the chat's like, man, Daniel can tell a story, and man, I agree. It's definitely captivating to even just hear you talk, but tell that story. And man, I couldn't imagine being your dad, and I don't know. I'd probably be too scared to move.
So let me tell you another one. It's not, this one, this isn't really a cryptid, but it's kind of if you think about it, it's pretty frightening just on how dangerous Alaska can be. So my uncle was probably about 17, 18 years old, and he was tracking a deer. And as he's tracking this deer, now up there, this is how I learned how to hunt, was to track. Not just sit in place, not sit in a deer stand. Even though I've been in deer stands, I was in a deer stand when I was young, when I had technically my very first encounter. But he was stalking this deer, tracking it, and he wasn't really paying attention to the area that he was getting in. So he sees this deer, and he goes, okay, I got a clear shot. I'm taking this deer. So he scopes in on it, takes the shot, drops it. Before he could move, he said, like prairie dogs, he saw one head come up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wolves popped up out of this brush and started running right at my uncle. My uncle threw his stuff and ran to the nearest tree, climbed up the tree, and watched these wolves run right underneath the tree. What he did not realize is that he followed this deer into a box canyon. And when he shot the deer, that report echoed off of that canyon wall and came back at the wolves, and the wolves thought they were getting shot at. So they wanted to get the heck out of there because they were afraid they were going to get shot. And my uncle said that he stayed up in that tree until almost dark before he went down and grabbed his gear and got out of town. But that just shows you how dangerous Alaska can be.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And there's just so much. I bet there's so many other folks who, hunters, trappers, just different things, who have so many stories, and who knows if they've ever gone and shared them. So that's awesome that you've got that, and your dad, your uncle and all that were able to share that with you. That's awesome.
Well, with my grandfather, now my grandfather was a logger up in Alaska.
Oh, okay.
And him and his crew for the company he worked for, their boss said, hey, we need you to go up to this area. We need you to finish logging it out. The crew that we had up there just stopped logging it. They walked off the job. Now, it's kind of steep up there. It's kind of treacherous. So that's what my grandfather was thinking, that maybe that's why they, it was just not safe enough for him. So my grandfather, being the veteran logger that he was with his crew that he'd worked with for the better part of a decade, decides to go up. The landing's up there, all the machinery's up there. And so he's got guys, like 3 or 4 guys that are down the hillside that has all these fallen trees on it, and they're down there setting these chokes, these cables, and they're the yokers or chokers or whatever they're called. My grandfather was on the landing, and he was a limber. He would limb the trees out before they were put up into a pile or up onto a truck if it was there. And they'd been working all morning, just busting their butt. And my grandfather went up to the yard operator and goes, hey, after you bring this load up on the landing, sound that horn so these guys can come up and we can have lunch. Not a problem. So they bring it up, and they finish limbing, and he sounds the horn, signal to bring the guys from down the bottom to come on up. No sooner did that horn or that whistle or whatever stop that they heard this insanely loud and powerful roar or yell come from the bottom of the hill just inside the tree line where these 3 or 4 guys were at. My grandfather told my dad that he had seen 4 grown men literally levitate up the hillside. He said they were jumping from over fallen trees. I mean, any normal person who probably didn't have the adrenaline these guys had to get away from whatever was down there, they were probably broke a bone, broke a back, broke their leg or something. But these guys got up there unscathed. And before they got up there, the yard operator was out of the machine. My grandfather and the other guy, they were in the trucks and they were ready to go. And the guys grabbed their gear on the way up into their trucks and took off. And that was the first and last day that my grandfather worked in that area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that would probably be my last day to work in that area too.
They said that the roar was so powerful that it felt like it just, you've seen like a shockwave, right? You've seen like a bomb go off on video and you see like the shockwave.
Oh yeah.
He said it felt like it was a shockwave coming up the hillside. It just hit them in their chest.
Wow. It's kind of like one of those guttural, screams or growls where you just feel it in your entire body,
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So,
man, that's fascinating. I appreciate you sharing these stories with us, Daniel.
Sure.
Man. Yeah.
Well, brother, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to try to, it's past my eating time, so I'm going to go to bed with no dinner.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, and
yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow, or maybe even on Saturday.
Yep, absolutely, man. So, hey, don't forget that flyer that I sent you. Post that up on the social media and stuff, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll make sure to mention everybody about our meetup that's coming up. So, no, I appreciate that, and looking forward to it. Look forward to seeing you then.
Cool. Hey, everybody, have a good night. And I see a lot of people who are in my live stream. Thanks for jumping on, you guys. Thanks for coming back over here to Cody's. Great guy. Share this stuff around. Let's get him to 1,000. Let's get him to 1,000 subscriber, guys. He's almost there. Let's get him.
I appreciate it, Daniel.
All right. I'll see you guys later, man. See you tomorrow morning.
See you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Man, appreciate Daniel calling in. He always has seriously the best stories, and you guys are right. I mean, he can do audiobooks. He's got the voice for it. He definitely can captivate you when he tells you any story. And so there's a couple things in the chat I was going to mention. I had missed a few things. So David, appreciate you being here, man. Looking forward to tomorrow. I've got an interview coming up with David tomorrow, so that's going to be really great episode coming up. So you guys make sure to tune in when that drops. Which will probably be on Friday. Vincent, I think you had asked me a question up here earlier. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, you said, what's your personal opinion on why Alaska may have such crazy paranormal activity and different encounters? So I'm kind of the belief, a lot of things, but I would say that I think that the Alaskan Triangle is mostly its nature at its most unforgiving. I also think Alaska is just so massive. It's unexplored. And I do believe that there's several things beneath the ice that humanity hasn't discovered yet. There's so much ice there. Eduardo brought up the guy's name, but yeah, John Reeves from Boneyard, Alaska. I mean, that guy is finding all kinds of stuff. I mean, stuff that's kind of changing history of the amount of animals and different things that were there and just a small piece of land that he has access to or owns. So it's just fascinating. And so I think that there's probably a lot that we don't know about Alaska that's just been, in ice for thousands of years, from artifacts to history. Who knows what's really underneath all the ice. So that's kind of my take on that. I just wanted to make sure I got back up there and answered your question on that. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah, no worries. And then I also, before I forget, was it Jeremy or Jerome? Sorry if I said that wrong. I think it was Jeremy. Man, call in. The number's up on the screen. We'd love to hear your stories you have to share. if you don't feel like calling in, shoot me an email. Love to talk to you more about that, and hear all the things you have to say, because that's what we are all here for, is to hear things. And I think the best part of the show is always when people call in personally. So yeah. And then Skidder, also, I noticed earlier you said something about kind of the government telling mega churches to prepare for disclosure. I haven't heard that, but it's always been kind of it's one of those things. I feel like we always think that it's like coming. It's right around the corner. So I think that we're getting closer to disclosure, especially on aliens and different things. So, we've got a lot of things we learned last year, like about directed energy weapons, things like that were kind of always, I would say, conspiracy theories that have been proven to be real. So there's definitely a lot going on there. Yep. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Franklin. So I don't know if I can pull it up on here. I'll try to have it for the next time, next week on Wednesday. But yeah, we're going to be having a meet and greet, guys. It's not just going to be me. It's going to be Josh from Mysteries Unknown and Daniels from the Cryptid Podcast. And we're all going to be meeting up June 5th at the Green Door Collectibles. This is in Knoxville, Arkansas. It's going to be starting at 3 p.m. So we'd love to have you guys there if you're able to make it. I know a lot of folks are from Arkansas. Even if you're not, if you can make it in, we'd love to hang out with you, see you. And it's going to be a good time, just a time to kind of hang out and share stories. So I plan to bring, all my paranormal stories, which most of you guys have probably heard most of them by now, but we're going to definitely have a good time. So, and plus it'll be the first time I get to meet Daniel in person. So it's definitely going to be a good time. Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, I don't go to like a mega church, but I do go to a large church. And so if they ever say anything about it, I'm gonna like record that, because that would be pretty crazy. Hey, Trevor, appreciate you hanging out with us, man. I know we start the show kind of late sometimes, and tonight we started about 10 minutes later. So appreciate you hanging out. We'll catch you next time. Make sure you check out Friday's episode. And again, you guys email us, call us. We'd love to hear your stories. So hey, Casey, how are you doing? From Fairbanks. That's awesome. Yep, I'm a big fan of Alaska. I'm a big fan of the Outdoor Boys. I don't know if you live close enough to them or see them around, because they're always around, but that's awesome. I've always wanted to visit and spend some time in Alaska for fishing and camping purposes, just to connect with nature. So that's cool you live there. Never have been there, so it's definitely on my bucket list. Yeah, I agree with that, Skidder. Good night, Trevor. Thanks for hanging out with us. So, yeah, I mean, so just kind of back to that. I do believe, though, like truthfully, that there's so much under the ice that's just not been discovered. And so, it makes you really wonder, what's there, what's been under there. I'm trying to pull up because I think that, like I was telling you earlier, excuse me, the Boneyard, Alaska, the guy, I mean, he truly does find some amazing stuff. So I want to visit Alaska for a lot of reasons, but I'd also like to visit his Boneyard and kind of see all the different things that he has. He's found mammoth dust, gold nuggets, just all kinds of stuff. It's just fascinating. Hey, David. Yeah, on UFO disclosure, man, I think it's coming. I'm actually, I've talked to a lot of folks who've had encounters with different, aliens, UFOs, things like that. It's something that's been going on for a long time. There's just too many people out there for me to ignore that it doesn't exist. I've never had an encounter with an alien or even seen a UFO, but I do believe it. There's just so much out there. And, I'm not exactly 100% on
I think a lot of it is government technology that's been hidden from us. But my question is, like, where are they getting some of this technology, some of this knowledge?
Guys like Bob Lazar, he had all this knowledge about, he talks about when he first came out and was kind of a whistleblower about this. He talked about, was it uranium or some chemical that wasn't on the periodic table, and then later in life it actually showed up on the periodic table of elements, and so that stuff definitely, I believe, is real. Yeah, Casey, if you have any weird stuff over from Alaska or anywhere, feel free to call us. We'd love to hear from you. I bet there's so much that's unexplored. Have you seen a moose up close? I've heard they're pretty massive. So, yeah, Skidder. I was actually, I talked to a lady. I think I shared this with you guys, but she's from Arizona. Eventually, I think she's going to come on the show, but she's not ready yet. She has a crazy encounter, but she also saw something in the sky that was so black that you couldn't even see the stars. You couldn't see through it, and it was like the size of a football field. So, yeah, Vince says, I wonder, though, I don't know that I will believe any disclosure that the powers that be will even say. Fair enough. I mean, I think, at the core and the heart of the show, I'm definitely a hardcore conspiracy theorist to some degrees. I'm not a flat earther, so you guys don't ever think that. That's one I don't go with that one. But yeah, it's hard to believe anything the government says. I feel like we get kind of lied to, and the information we receive a lot of times is it's not always the full truth, maybe grains of the truth. That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool you moved out there. I'm sure it's really pretty. I'm sure the winters are rough, though. I mean, I guess it depends on which part you live in, I guess. Again, I've never been there, so I don't know too much about it other than what I've seen on different YouTube channels and things like that, outdoor videos. Chris, that's a good idea. That's a good thought, too. I mean, the fallen angels, a lot of people equate them to being, like the Nephilim, fallen angels being tied to Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I think it's all tied together. The more I talk to people, and the more I talk to people that are of like Native American heritage, there's so much to what I believe, like Native Americans are so tied to a lot of this stuff, like the spirit realm, all these things like the earth. I feel like there's a connection there to everything. And I don't really have a good way to explain that. It just seems to be what I notice, when I talk to people from different areas, like just as a small example, the Ozarks in Arkansas. There's a lot of native land around here. We're really close to Oklahoma. And so the tribes, they all over this land. And so there's a lot of things that happen tied to maybe some burial grounds where natives are buried. And there's just a lot of, there's a lot of native folklore that goes way back. And I think there's something to all that. Really, David? Yeah, you'll have to share that with me, man. I don't know I know we talked on the phone, if you mentioned that, but man, that's wild. There's been a lot of folks who've seen, UFOs that size. Yeah, that's true, Skidder. There's even parts of Arkansas that are pretty, we're pretty close to Mark Twain National Forest, which that's in Missouri, but we also got a lot of wooded areas and stuff in Arkansas as well. Seen the moose more so in the wintertime. Yeah, I bet they're massive. I mean, just from videos I've seen of those things. appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. If you have any stories that you'd like to share, or if any weird stuff happened while you've been in Alaska so far, that'd be awesome. If you want to call in, the number's on the screen. We'd love to hear it. And oh yeah, Skidder, you saw the California Sierra Mountains. And that's a good lens to look through. I mean, you can never go wrong, Chris, when you're looking at stuff that way. In the Bible, it's true. It's the true and living word. So there's a lot of things that, tie back to that. Yeah. David, do you know about that area, Taney County? I heard the knocks in the woods. The knocks in the woods. Those are when things go silent. That's when things get weird. So, hey, that's definitely interesting. Definitely spot on, Chris. Vincent, yeah, I mean, I think once you have an encounter with anything, it feels like you're tagged. A lot of people that have encounters with Sasquatch or UFOs, that have other encounters in life, and a lot of people I've talked to have had, especially alien encounters. They don't just happen once; they happen for like long periods of time, and then it seems like later in life they just fall off and they quit having these encounters. But it makes you wonder. Actually, there's one episode we did a while back with the lady. It's been a while. Excuse me. I think it was Mandy, but don't hold me to that. It's one of the episodes on the channel, but she actually talks about when she was young, she remembers being abducted and having something implanted in her leg. And she remembers her leg hurting, and she told her mom, and they pulled this very thin piece of metal out of her leg. Of course, they didn't keep it or anything, but she definitely thought it was tied to, her being abducted. So that's pretty wild. Oh, okay. Yeah, over in Marion County. Are you talking about Arkansas, Chris? Yeah, once they know you, it's definitely on. So, but I appreciate you guys bearing with me. I feeling much better this week, but I'm still kind of battling this cough. It just won't go away. There is one other theory, though, that I wanted to mention to you guys about there's a lot of theories of what people think is going on in Alaska with this triangle and what's fueling all the strange phenomena there. There's some paranormal researchers that think the triangle contains portals, vortexes, or thin spots between dimensions. They use disappearances and strange sightings as evidence. Claims include stuff like time distortion, missing time experiences, people vanishing without tracks. And that kind of ties heavily into UFO theories. So there's definitely weird parts. You guys may have heard there was a guy in I think it's Antarctica that's super heavily guarded. And I guess you can't fly over certain parts of Antarctica, or you can't fly there at all. There's one kid who I guess was a pilot. He flew his plane. This was a couple months ago. You've probably heard of this. He flew his plane to Antarctica. I guess he got arrested. I don't know whatever happened to the kid, but it just kind of makes you wonder there's a lot of weird things. Military installations and bases that I'm sure we have no idea about. So it makes you wonder what's really going on over there. So I've got the number on the screen. Anybody else want to call in? I'll probably wrap up here soon. We'll go into kind of the second part of the show. Oh, Jeremy. Yeah, from Kentucky. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've talked on the phone before. So appreciate you hanging out with us. And if you want to call in and share your stories and encounters with us tonight, that'd be awesome. If not, then, we can email me or we can talk on the phone. Skitter, I sent you a text about the UFO thing.
Well, check out this text that Skitter sent me. Let's see. Okay, so what Skitter was saying earlier about the mega churches, he sent me kind of a screen grab of something, and it says that influential megachurch pastors have been told by U.S. intelligence in secret meetings to prepare their followers for shocking revelations about UFOs and aliens, which may have been belief in the Bible. Pastors were told about the existence of reptilian creatures, UFOs, and materials from a non-human origin, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie. Officials in this secret meeting allegedly said that information on its way may cause some Christians to question how the universe was. I cut off there, how the universe was created, I guess. You know what? That kind of stuff actually doesn't append my belief. So even if, I'm a firm believer that even if they came and said, you know what, aliens are real, everything you've been told is about history is a lie or whatever, at the end of the day, I believe the very first sentence in the Bible is God created. So I think he can create anything and everything. And he did. And so no matter if there's aliens on other planets, if there's aliens in other water, I'm a firm believer that at the end of the day, it was all created by God, our creator. So yeah, Vincent, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for the questions too. That definitely get me thinking. So yeah, I appreciate it, man. Feeling better. Just gotta get over this cough. So, well, you guys hang around with us. We're gonna probably wrap up unless anybody else wants to call here. I'm probably gonna move on to the after party of the show. We'll play some music, and I'm gonna have some. I'm trying to work on kind of a live show where I have a lot more video stuff that I can share with you guys. I've got a conspiracy one coming up that I'm kind of researching and studying. I want to make sure I've got plenty of material. And so when we do that one, hopefully, if not next week, the week after, we're going to do something on a conspiracy that I'm really into. And if you guys have anything that you're interested in, message me, text me. Number on the screen. You can text that number anytime. And let me know, and we can try to look into it. And if it's something that fits, what we talk about, I'd love to talk about it. Appreciate that, David. Yeah, exactly. It won't change my faith at all, man. I mean, I think that if God can create humans, he can create anything. So, there's probably a lot of things we don't know about. Yep. Reptilians, cryptids. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be awesome if they had more disclosure, because wouldn't that be awesome if we were able to get even better actual video evidence of Bigfoots, aliens, things like that, like really good video evidence. That would be a lot of fun to watch. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that book. I'll have to check it out. I used to read a lot more Stephen King stuff. I haven't in a while. Just I haven't had time to read much. So I do enjoy it though when I have time. Excuse me. Appreciate that, Franklin. Yeah, I think there will be some people that freak out, Skitter, but I guess it just depends on the person and their beliefs and stuff. So I mean, I don't doubt that there would be absolute chaos to some degree. That is what we don't want, David. We don't want ever the one world government. No way. I think there's a lot of plays and a lot of moves of things that are happening that are moving us that direction. One of these days, like I said, I mentioned it last show. One of these days, I'll be able to talk more about my favorite topic, which I can't even talk about right now because we're just such a new channel and I can't get canceled yet, guys. So we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Once we do that, well, I guess disappeared for a second. Sorry. But we're trying to get to 1,000 members, guys. Once we do that, we're going to have we'll have members spots. You can be a member of the show and we're going to start to, share some more content, kind of behind the scenes stuff, what we do in our daily life. Because I don't know if you guys know, but outside of this, I do run a business that I own. And so I stay pretty busy all the time. And so I'm just glad that I have the ability to, do this show with you guys. And I appreciate you guys being here. It really does mean a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of agendas out there, David, that kind of wild. So Eduardo, I'll tell you this. My favorite, I'm going to say conspiracy, but I don't think at all this is a conspiracy. My favorite number one, most relevant topic right now is tied into the Charlie Kirk assassination and all things involving that, from countries to individuals. There's a lot of things there. And so that is my number one favorite topic. It's not something right now that I really want to talk about, only because it definitely, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want people to be like, oh, I can't watch this channel. So, I got to really tiptoe around certain things, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be somebody that pushes anyone in any one direction. So I like to talk about all kinds of things, and that's just my favorite conspiracy. Yeah, it's a very touchy subject. There's a lot of touchy stuff there. So that's why we can't talk about it yet. One of these days. Yeah, the shadow government. I think, Skidder, I think I alluded to this before, but I believe that at the very top is Ball, and maybe some other entities like that. And then you've got certain families that, bloodlines. It all runs back to bloodlines, right? So you've got certain family, Rothschilds, a couple other families that kind of pull the strings in a lot of different ways. And so, and also are a large part of a lot of things that happen today. Yeah, Chris, there's a lot more to that. I'm not even just talking about the shooting. There's just so much there. A lot of questions, and it's crazy. So Untitled Truths, hey, how are you? Appreciate you jumping in, hanging out with us. So, yep. I like I said, one of these days, guys. One of these days. Can't get canceled yet. I think actually getting a call in. Let's see who this is here. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Cody.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
My name is Jeremy Staggs.
Jeremy, hey man, how are you? I appreciate you calling.
I'm calling because I've had a lot of experiences, more than you can even count. And it's just, and I actually have a video, and it's on YouTube. It's under lunar eclipse UFO, and I go outside, and the local paper had said that the moon or something was making a close approach, and it wasn't that; it was a lunar eclipse. I got up and it was going on, so I get out and I go to film it. This structure floats across the moon. It's got a structure in the middle and a thing hanging off the corner, like it slides down, and like a structure in the middle, and it just floats right in front of the moon, gets in the middle of the moon, and lifts straight up. And I took it to, I'm from Fulton County, I took it to Morehead State University, and I took it to Ben Malphurs and Dr. Carnevale, and none of them could tell me what it was, because I spent probably an hour and a half in their office for them, because I originally thought it was a space station. And they said, no, you'd only catch a speck of it, and as fast as traveling, it only got about 2.5 seconds of it if you would have got it.
Wow.
But that video there, I mean, I've had it copyrighted at the Library of Congress too. But, I made the front page of my newspaper. This is back in the day, and I've had so many experiences since then. It's crazy. I've been watching, and what blows my mind, there's a guy, Jeff and the Dog or somebody I follow on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, I've been watching him. And until I got looking, and I seen them red things above them, and I think them were portals when you get on his show. And I didn't realize what I had seen, and I had actually seen 2 portals. I kid you not, in my backyard, because me and my daughter would always go out and look at the sky, because once you're addicted to seeing something, like that craft I seen floating across the moon, it's been a wild deal. And I was mowing about 2.5 acres out there when I was married, and And I go out and I was walking in the field and there's a barn in front of the field and I'm just looking at the sky above the sky. And if you take a prick of infinity and you stretch it all the way down to the barn, getting wide, all the way to about 12, I don't know, probably about 12 foot wide. And it stayed there all the way from infinity to there. And I moved my arms because I thought I was going to get hit and I didn't know what it was. And then eventually it just shut out like it was nothing.
Man. And you said you have a video of this, you said on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, but I got the original copy. But what happened with that deal? I forget his name. He came down eventually to visit me because I showed him the video and he was impressed with it. UK come down, done a story on it, University of Kentucky, a couple girls. And it's just like, but I've seen so much stuff, it just, it blows your mind. I'm not talking about paranormal, I'm talking about crafts.
No, hey, that's, man, I'll tell you what, Jeremy, you probably seen my email pop up on here a few times tonight, but man, you should email me. I'd love to talk to you a lot more about this. My email is strangeconspiracies88@gmail. Man, I'd love to, strangeconspiracies88@gmail.com. And we could get on the phone and talk, and I'd love to hear more of all of this. And, you know, if you're interested to have you on the show, we do pre-recorded episodes, and love to talk to you more about that.
I've been trying to get it out because when that thing goes across the moon, I had a big TV on the wall, you know, hang on the wall. It was just a 32-inch crappy TV. But I got to put the video in for the girls to watch the video, and like it goes across the moon, and then I started adjusting with the brightness on it after they left and stuff. You know, and I got looking, that craft is so big, it actually projected a shadow on the moon. I kid you not. I need to get somebody to analyze that video because when I went to get a video analyzed, that guy was going to pay for it, you know, because he made all his early money in online pharmaceutical sales in the 90s. But anyways, I forget his name, but he come down and he's like, I didn't want to give him a copy of it. Well, eventually, all right, they was going to pay for him to get a copy. So I called up to Lexington to go to Barney Miller's to get it copied because they said they get copied raw data. They wanted raw data to see if I faked it or not. So I went up there and I told them I had the original copy, and I said, I want the original. I made it on raw, and I went back home and sent it back to them. It wasn't raw data. You know, I was like, oh, crap. Well, the next time they got a store, I wait or whatever, and he calls, said, go to this store up here in Lexington. They can copy raw data there. So I go all the way up to Lexington. As soon as I turn and I walk in the door, you know what happened? Every TV in there started making static noise and everything was acting crazy when I walked in that store. I said, man, there's something going on here. We can't do it today.
Man.
And I cannot tell you about all the times that like security lights or pole lights will shut off when I go past them. And my ex-wife and my daughter will explain to you, we're pulling up to the bypass and they got two main lights over the corner and two main lights over the corner over here. As soon as I pulled up to the light, the two lights shut out. Boom. Like, oh, both my daughter and my wife look at me like, I was like, I ain't doing shit. Well, we drive across the parking lot, we go get gas, we come up and we pull up to the parking lot across the intersection again. As soon as we pull up in, the lights shut out again. I didn't have pointed headlights or nothing. It just blew my mind. And the times that the pole lights would shut off when I was going past them, I don't understand what the hell was going on there.
Man, that's interesting. You know, there's other folks that heard of that when they go past lights and stuff, they have the same kind of maybe same kind of deal where the lights will shut off and different things. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I got bad on drugs at one time, and that's why I was talking to Jeff Nadal because he was bad on drugs at one time, you know, and he got off of them, and I'm off of them now. I smoke a little bit of a marijuana pen is all I do. But I think a lot of times from my injuries, because I work masonry work all the time, I don't care to give you a hard day's work anytime, and I'm 49 years old.
Man. Yeah, well, if you have, like I said, man, email me. I'd love to talk to you more and kind of hear all your stories. And we could, you know, like I said, have you share them and we could share that video as well.
At one time, before I knew this, I still had dial-up internet where it was through the phone. And I got on it and it was like almost like the internet was feeding me stuff. Does that make sense?
No, I have an idea what you're talking about. I know what you mean.
Like, yeah. And so like I'm I found out it wasn't the space station. I couldn't make it work. And then I had another thing that popped up, and it talked about John Lear. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I read this article about him. And he got done with it. It was a top secret government program. And he said he got done with it. You know what he went and done? He went and got a plane to fly over it to see what he built. They built. And you know what that object was? An object to mine the moon. And I can't find that article again.
Man, that's too bad you can't find that again. They probably scrubbed it off the internet.
Probably did. I never did find it again. I've had a hell of a time. And see, I've also suffered 3 massive strokes. I'm lucky to be alive. You know, I'm walking, talking, still doing good.
Man, praise Jesus that you're alive and well, and especially after 3 strokes. That's wild. I'm gonna check out your video. Franklin shared a link to it, and so I'm gonna definitely check that out here after the show ends. And
video, you got a copy of the video already?
Yeah, Franklin said he shared a link to it from your YouTube or where you posted it.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah,
share it all you want. I didn't try to make no money off of it at all. I just wanted to put it out there because I know I filmed it and it was real. And at first, it almost looks like a plane flying over, and then you realize it's floating in from the left. But like I said, when it goes across the moon, if you get the brightness just right, you will see a shadow across the moon. And that's how big that object was. I need to get it in the hands of somebody that can actually prove it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you keep pushing, man. You'll eventually get the right person that can, validate that and get that.
I mean, it's a real deal. And not to mention that, my daughters had experiences too when I was growing up. And there was another time, I know I mentioned I come out and me and my daughter, or not my daughter, but me, I'd always go out, or even my daughter too, because we seen a freaking orange fireball shoot across our front yard, like a meteor flew right through our yard, it lit up the whole ground, orange and everything. That was a unique experience. But also, my ex-nephew had a bloodhound, and he was using it to track deer, and he was going down tracking deer down on the lower part of the farm, and it got to the tracks, and it backed up. It didn't want to cross them. Well, eventually he got it across them. But you would not believe what that track was. It was big as I'm a big guy, and I'm like 6'2", and pretty good size, but it was big as my hand. And it had claws on it. Damn. And I think it was a cat. And I was out there walking around in the dark. Stupid. I got so many stories, I just ain't been able to tell them,
No, well, hey, you called the right place, and we're all here for that. We'd love to hear these stories. And like I said, that's why I want to talk to you more. We could talk by phone. I'll be available for you tomorrow, Friday, the weekend. You just let me know, and you got my email, and let's get your stories and get them out there.
My email is Jeremy. It's out JEROMY 1977 stags@gmail.com. My name's spelled weird. I thought my mom had misspelled it, and she actually did. You sounded out. It almost sounds like Jer on the. You know what I'm saying?
You said Jeremy 1979 Stags.
1977. Yeah. JEROMY 1977 stags@gmail.com.
Is that 2 G's?
Yeah.
At Gmail. Okay.
All right. GGS. All right.
Yeah.
See, I went to all these other websites and different people, and I've never really had somebody want to talk to me ever. And I'm just like, man.
Well, man, you called the right place. I'm always looking for folks to talk to, and especially about stuff like this, because we kind of cover everything on this channel. So, yeah,
that sounds great. I'm glad I called.
Well, I appreciate you calling, and man, I'm going to reach out to you, and I hope to hear from you. Talk to you some more soon.
All right, just whenever you call, man, I'm available anytime, because where I had the 3 massive strokes, I'm on disability now because I can't see out like my left side, my left eye is completely, I can't see out of that part. That's one of the deficits from having 3 massive strokes. But I used to be big. I think I was 265 pounds, and now I'm down to about 200, I think.
Wow.
Which is a lot of weight. Anyways.
Yeah, man.
I've been through so much, and my granny just died a couple of days ago, and she just had her funeral today.
Oh, geez, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, like I said, God bless that you're alive after, suffering those strokes. And I hate it to hear about your grandma. And man, it's never fun losing anybody close to you. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's rough. I swear, I think I should have been on PTSD medicine because of all this stuff. I've seen so much stuff. And I didn't hear this. There's another story I'll just tell you right off the bat. My daughter had come in, and her name's Mackenzie Staggs, and she said, "What are the wolves doing out there?" And I didn't hear her say that. Well, they're standing at the window, and they're looking out the window, and my ex-wife comes to me and says, "What are these?" I walk over to the window, and I'm looking down, and there's 2 of them right in front of the window, and they're looking up at us. And I was like, I could not tell if they was a dog, you know what I'm saying? So I go out the back porch, and I got steps down the side. I go down the side, and I start walking up to them. And as I turn, walking down the sidewalk right before I get to them, they hear me instantly. But when I was looking at them, they had like weird designs on their side. Both of them did. And then they jumped up and turned and was looking at me running fast. I mean, gone. But the reason they was out there is because they had my cat treed up in the tree. It took the next day a hell of a time just to get him down.
Oh, I bet. I've had a cat in a tree, a 50-foot tree before. We had to get the fire department to get him down.
I think this one was 30, 40 feet up. I had to get that damn cat down with a ladder that was only, I think, 15.
What kind of, you mentioned these weird designs on them. Like, what kind of designs do you remember what they had on them?
Not really. They was almost, when I think about it, the first impression I got when I seen it, it was almost like camouflage. Like you got them little scarves at court day and stuff where you'd have like camouflage, pink, green, blue. But it almost looked like it's camouflage. It had weird designs in the side of it. I don't understand what it was. And it didn't have no tail. Its ears were perky. And then next thing I know, they seen me and they took off running. They went down the side of the trailer and up through the burn pile, up that way. I was like, oh, shit. And I didn't know Mackenzie said the wolves was out there, right? So I had the porch light on the end of the house, and I'm standing by the light watching. I didn't see them or whatever. And next thing I know, I'm walking down to the edge of it. I walk around the edge, and they seen me, and they flew so fast, it was almost incomprehensible how fast they went. I could not believe they went that fast. Because I was trying to think of a deer run or something else, but these was way faster than anything I can imagine. Well, they was gone, and I go walking back up to the end of my trailer, and I'm standing by the corner there, just standing there watching, because it's dark out. And I had the flashlight, but just as I'm standing there, here come a wolf. Tail, black, with 2-inch long hair hanging on it, walking up from the upper side of the burn pit across my front yard. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, and that's just one story there. It's just wild, man.
That is wild. Yeah, and you just never know with the wolves, too. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism about seeing wolves that the natives believe, but there's also a lot of cryptids that kind of can appear like wolves, like a dog man. To me, if I saw one, I might think it was wolf-like in nature from what I've been told, but there's a lot to that. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
These young ones, they were small, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't have no hair on them. That's what was weird, because me and Christy and Mackenzie was looking at them. It was like there was no hair on them, and that's what was freaking us out, So we walk outside, and then we walk out, and they had zero hair on them. It was just wild.
Oh, that's weird.
And then I don't know what the deal was because they had the weird design on the side. And then, like I said, before it was all said and done, I was still standing on the porch and I seen that black wolf walk up through the yard. And I was like, oh. And that's before I knew. When I went in, Mackenzie said she'd seen wolves out there. And I wish I'd known that before. It was a black wolf right there in Fleming County.
Man.
But that one that my nephew was tracking, I followed it down there, and its prints was as big as my hand. I had pictures of it and everything. And then my buddy Kenny, he's passed away now, but he'd seen prints of it over on the other side of the lake too. So I don't know if they're traveling. I don't know what. Do you think they're an interdimensional item, or do you think they're more of a religious based? Like,
man, that's a good question. I mean, Skidder put a good point in here. You know, maybe these things, especially the hairless ones, could have been maybe even like a skinwalker, and they're, you know, in my opinion, they're kind of interdimensional beings that can shapeshift. So it's hard to say. I mean, it could be a lot of different things, but I definitely would say that it's probably demonic, you know, especially if they're even close to the category of what we'd call a skinwalker.
Oh, I seen one coming home from work one day. Work construction. I was coming home. We was riding in a minivan, and I looked out the window, and I seen one in the sky, and it was white right about it beside a tower up there. And I was like, "There's one right there," and they was kind of joking. So I watched a little bit and then lost sight of it. And the next thing I know, it's gone. We're driving up the hill, and I was like, oh, it's gone. I look out way over the horizon, and I seen it again, way farther than it should have been. And it was white.
This is all in Kentucky. Is this right? You're in Kentucky?
Yes, I'm in Kentucky. I stopped one day because I had to take BJ to work, and we was driving along the bypass in Flensburg here, and right over the town, there was a ball of light sitting over Flemingsburg. It almost looked like a star, but it wasn't. It was too low. We stopped and pull off the side of the road, and we're looking at it. I was like, look at that. There's nothing's moving. It's just sitting there in the sky. We're watching about after 5-10 seconds, that thing shoots straight up out of the sky and is gone. You know, it's just wild. I've admitted witnesses to almost everything, which the one I didn't have was my video, which is crazy.
Man, like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but I know some people that are in the chat right now have looked at it and said it was wild. So I'm going to check it out as soon as I get done with the show tonight. And, man, I'm going to email you probably tomorrow morning or tomorrow in the middle of the day. And,
yeah, it's JROMY1977 stags@gmail.com.
You'll be getting.
And if not, you can call me on this number.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put your number down. I've got it right here. And, man, I appreciate you calling in and sharing with us, Jeremy. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
I hope to soon, brother.
Man, you have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow, guys. I appreciate that Jeremy called in. He's got lots of stories to share, and so I'm excited to talk to him some more about that. That wolf thing is crazy, especially hairless. I mean, I think Skidder hit it on the head, you know, potentially a skinwalker. You know, I've never seen a skinwalker in person, but I've heard stories. You know, I know Daniel shared with us his rake story before. To me, that sounds like a skinwalker. I guess they're different, but that's kind of what I picture in my head as a skinwalker. Yeah, that was definitely pretty awesome. So, yeah, definitely some prayers for him too. I mean, you know, dealing with losing his grandma and strokes, it's gonna be hard on anybody. And so, you know, definitely send some prayers to Jeremy. And man, I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. We ran kind of late tonight, and so I really appreciate it. David, looking forward to getting in touch with you tomorrow night, brother. And you know, everybody for hanging out. So, like I said, guys, one of these days we'll get more into, you know, we'll do something on the Charlie Clerk thing. Probably not too long down the road. It's not too crazy. So we'll talk about it. It's just, you know, right now it's a real hot topic, and so I just try to stay back, kind of listen to everything. And that's, like I said, probably my favorite conspiracy right now. So quotation marks. Yeah, I'm going to check out this video. I know, Franklin, you shared a link to it. For some reason, I can't click it, so I'll just try to copy and paste it later and put it into YouTube. Franklin, if you're still on, if you see this, man, would you shoot me a text with that link to that video? I'd appreciate that. you guys give it up for Franklin. He's a moderator on this channel. And so we're always looking for other folks to help moderate too. And I really appreciate Franklin because the guy shows up every week. He helps push this channel and promote it. And so I really appreciate Franklin. Great guy too. He, checks on me, texts me and stuff. Also Skitter, as you guys know, I have ADHD, so I'm not the best at always getting back to you. Don't take it personal. It's sometimes I'll read a text and I'm like, I got to respond to that. And then I forget. So don't hold it against me. So you guys hang around. We're going to get to the after party of the show. We play some music. Well, it keeps kicking me out. So we're going to do some after party stuff. So you guys hang around and let's jump into the after party. So don't go anywhere. We're going to listen to some music. Well, we might. Looks like might be having some. You never know, Eduardo. That could be the case. They're trying to shut us down already. Trying to get my. Well, guys, for some reason, there it is. Okay. It wasn't working. So really quick before I go, can you guys still hear me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you guys are seeing this, hearing this. Really quick, give me a 1 because it kicked me out twice tonight. So just want to make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Okay, cool. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. All right, you guys, hang out. We're going to play our outro, and then we're going to get into some music for a little bit and just kind of hang out and chat. So see you in just a minute.
Back when I was younger, chasing things unseen, running through the back roads, living in between old abandoned houses, graveyards after 10. Thought I was just hunting ghosts, didn't know what I let in. Flashlights in the tree line, cold against my skin. Something in the silence knew exactly where I'd been. I laughed like it was nothing, said I wasn't scared. But the deeper that I wandered, the more I felt it there. There was something in the shadows, something in my soul. And every step I took at night was taking its toll. I was chasing down the darkness till the darkness followed me. Thought I was looking for the dead, but something else was watching me. When the fear got way too heavy and I fell down to my knees, Jesus walked into that darkness and he let those demons off of me. Yeah, he brought me from the dark into the light, saved my soul that night.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris. It's what kind of a newer outro that we had for our show. Appreciate you guys hanging out for the after party. So, some of you guys have been around, some of you are newer, but kind of like Josh and Dano, we like to hang out afterwards, just chat, talk about whatever, and play some music. So, you guys have heard some of these songs before, but I've got a few songs that I was going to play tonight. This is actually one of my favorites. It's been around for a while. If you've been listening to the channel for a while, you've heard it, but we don't play it all the time. So I want to go ahead and start us off with this one. But while we're doing that, guys, something to think about, we can talk about more in the chat, is if you had to choose your favorite conspiracy theory, what would that be? What is something that you followed for a long time, something that you are really highly interested in? What is your favorite? Let me know in the chat and we can talk about it some more, because there's a ton of different ones out there, and I like to know what everybody else is kind of interested in when it comes to conspiracy stuff.
We don't believe the script you're Static on the dial, coffee rings on midnight file. Lettering on the kitchen wall, names and dates that don't add up at all. They said it's all in my head, just click, come soon, go back to bed. But I got tapes that can't erase every whisper. Turns into a chase. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? Or am I shouting at the sky? Every truth they keep repeating feels like one more practice lie. Turn it up! This is a frequency. Strange conspiracies coming through your ceiling. Wake up! Can you feel that energy? We don't bow, we don't beg, we don't believe. Turn it up! This is a frequency. Strange conspiracies burning through the bleeding. Stand up! This is our awakening. We don't believe the scripts you're reading. Folder full of censored links, cut feed when the story blinks. Laugh track on a breaking wall, silver smile selling manufactured storms. They say calm down, trust the feed, but their comfort smells like need. So I build a beacon in my room, mic is live. Now I'm pointing at the wound. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Lines between the dots in red. Every glitch inside their story is a door they left unsaid. Turn it up! This is our frequency. Strange conspiracies coming through your ceiling. Wake up! Can you feel that energy? We don't bow, we don't beg, we don't believe. Turn it up! This is our frequency. Strange conspiracies burning through the bleeding. Stand up! This is our awakening. We don't believe the scripts you're reading. They brand our questions as a crime. Call it crazy every time. But every rumor that survives is just a wound that never died. Lies in the daylight, truth in the late night. Turn on the bright light, aim it at the stage. Lies in the daylight, truth in the late night. We on the fault line, rattling the cage. Turn it up! Hey! This is our frequency. Strange conspiracies coming through your ceiling. Wake up! Can you feel that energy? We don't bow, we don't beg, we don't believe. Turn it up! This is our frequency. Strange conspiracies screaming through the bleeding. Hands up! This is our awakening. Hey, hey! We don't believe the scripts you're reading. We don't believe it. We don't believe it. We don't believe the scripts you're reading. We don't believe the
So I hope you guys enjoyed that song. That's one that when we first came out with doing stuff on YouTube, that's one of the very first songs that we actually kind of put together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, I love talking conspiracies. And so Lady Kickboxer, somebody said great win. I'm assuming based on your name, maybe You did like a kickboxing competition. Is that accurate, or we're talking about something else? But if that is what it is, that's awesome. I've never done kickboxing. I've done some kickboxing, but I've done some mostly Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff on and off for just a couple different years. So, but yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer that the hadron collider is just not a good thing. You know what they're searching for, right? One of the biggest things they're looking for is what they call the God particle. And why do you think they're looking for that? Most excited about the coffee. I'm a big coffee fan. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but oh, okay. She won the giveaway on Dano's channel. Ah, nice. That's awesome. What was Daniel giving away? Was it coffee, I guess? Yeah, I love coffee too. So I'm kind of a, I would say a coffee connoisseur. I mostly just drink black coffee, but I'm blessed because I live near a coffee shop. It's called Onyx. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. If you're not from here, you probably haven't, but it's actually like been rated the #1 coffee in the world. Number 1 or 2, and it's the way they source it. And so I might be a little biased because it's really good. Yeah, I mean, live forever. That's definitely one good theory about the God particle. But what are they trying to harness? Yeah, they're trying to harness God's power by being able to control space and time, right? So that's just my thought on that. But yeah, there was actually a weird video. You guys probably saw this. A weird video. I think it was in Geneva, near where the collider is, or whatever. Where there were like people doing like some sort of satanic ritual, and like a girl got stabbed. There was somebody who recorded it. I don't know. It looked real to me, but you just never know anymore with AI. So yeah, open dimensions. So you won coffee, cryptid kids, a sign, and something else from Partly Cladded Collective. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's always good to do giveaways. Daniel, that's awesome. He does that. So one of these days we'd love to be able to do that too. So we're not quite there yet, but we're working on getting there. And so it's definitely satanic. So the next song I've got for you guys, let's see here. We can take it back to, you guys want to do like rock, 80s style? You guys want to do some country style? Or you guys let me know what sounds good to you. We kind of have a good mix of all of it. Yeah, it's definitely satanic, Chris. And Casey, I think your husband, he's spot on, as well. I believe that we definitely have that timeline shift. And excuse me. Do some indie. Okay, let me see what I got that is going to match that. Let's see. I've got some like punk rock. I don't know if I've got too much indie, but let me see what I got. That's a good one, Franklin. I may have to try to get some more. I don't know that I necessarily have indie style, but I do like that kind of style of music. Let me play one that I think is the closest thing I might have to that. Let's see. This is probably not going to be it, but as close as I got.
on crack. Old tape, wobbling a favorite track. You said every story has to end. I tried, like I'm turning back again. I'm just a ghost on the neon highway, chasing a face in a glass. Every mile pulls me further sideways, but I still see our past in the fog and the glow and the midnight radio. I'm just a ghost on the neon highway, nowhere left to go. Headlights flicker, strange shapes of the rain. Street signs stutter, spell out your name. If I let go, do I disappear or wake up on your street in another year? I'm just a ghost on the neon highway, chasing the face in the glass. Every mile pulls me further sideways, but I still see our past in the fog and the glow and the midnight radio. I'm just a ghost on the neon highway, nowhere left to go.
Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Frankly, I know that wasn't technically indie, but about as close as I got. So I've actually got a song. It's been around. You guys have probably heard this one before, maybe, but this is a one that just kind of reminds me of, faith and just, walking through challenges and battles. And so you guys let me know what you think about this one.
You walk me through the fire. I remember the silence, hitting my hands on the floor. Every dream felt broken, couldn't lift my heart anymore. Whispered a name in the darkness, didn't even know why I tried. Then a peace like thunder rolled down deep inside. I should have fallen, I should have faded, but somehow I'm still standing.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. So yeah, it's the same. It's a pretty cool program. So it's music I own the rights to. And yeah, I mean, we kind of like write the lyrics out to the best of our ability, and then we kind of pick a theme of what we want it to sound like, and then AI does the rest. So I'm not going to take all the credit because you would never hear me sing. I don't have a singing voice. So yeah, definitely kind of like a little 80s vibe to it. So I've got one more song I'll play for you guys, and then I got some closing stuff I wanted to talk to you about. But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I saw your comment earlier. Man, I'm right there with you. I think a lot of things are started for a distraction, but also the war machine, man. It's a money maker. So if you want to make a fortune, you get into the war machine. That's the reason we do it, right? So, Franklin, great question. Let's see. Yeah, it does kind of have like a Whitesnake vibe to it. So, Franklin, I didn't see your question. I'm just looking at it now. Does anyone ever feel like some of the stories in the Bible might involve ancient UFO sightings? If we do, in fact, have good alien races. Man, that's a good question. Definitely the Book of Enoch, which is not traditionally in your, standard Bibles you read today, but it is book of the Bible that, like the Ethiopian Bible and different older versions of the Bible have the Book of Enoch, and you can find it, but it talks about, more so it talks about the Nephilim, the fallen angels, which it does allude to that in the Bible that you and I read today, but it definitely goes into more detail about that. So there's a lot there. And so I do think that there's a lot of things that tie into paranormal activity that may be related to the Bible as well, from, fallen angels, Nephilim, things like that. Golden chariots and UFOs sounding similar. Yeah, that's a good point, Franklin. Something to definitely think about. Wondering if dogmen are an ancient revived bloodline that's been tweaked. Yeah, I'm under the impression, this is solely my opinion, that the dogman is, in my opinion, an interdimensional being, and they can appear, I think it's demonic, and it can appear just because the people who've seen it that I've talked to, the eyes, the way they feel, the fear, the mind speak, it's got to be demonic. So yeah, Chris, absolutely. So many books missing from the Bible left to know what information they contain. Yeah, you can find a lot of them. You just got to be careful that you're getting a copy that's, I would say, close to the truth. There's some books of Enoch that may be a little embellished, but you can find, actually, if you guys have the Bible app, they have a pretty good little short Book of Enoch on there. I would check that out. It's not as detailed as some of the other stuff I've read, but it's pretty good and gives you good insight. So I'm going to play this song for you guys, and then we'll get ready to close out the night. But this one, I've got a few that I just really enjoy, and so you may hear them often. This is one that, I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. And so I have a lot of, which all of us I'm sure do, but I have a lot of nostalgia that comes with life. You look back at things in the 90s, you're like, man, that was the best time. And so this song is kind of the reason I wrote this one, is to kind of remind me of, back when times were slower and the world seemed to move slower. So guys, listen to this.
Somewhere here in a screen door slam, back tires humming on the pavement again. Sunset fading on a gravel road. Didn't have much, but it felt like gold. Baseball games till the street lights shine. Mama yelling, boy, it's supper time. We didn't know those days would fly. Thought that moment would never die. Back when the world was wide and time moved slow. Back in the 90s where the wild winds blow. No phones in our hands, just dirt on our shoes. Radio songs and nothing to lose. Now the years roll by like a midnight train, but those memories keep calling my name. Yeah, I swear sometimes when the sun goes down, I can still hear the sound of the 90s town. Friday nights at the football game, neon lights and a little bit of fame. First love under the bleachers there, young and fearless without a care. CD players and the windows down, that old rock song blasting through the town. We were kings of a small town dream. Life was bigger than it seemed. Back when the world was wide and time moved slow. Back in the 90s where the wild winds blow. No phones in our hands, just dirt on our shoes. Radio songs and nothing to lose. Now the years roll by like a midnight train, but those memories keep calling my name. Yeah, I swear sometimes when the sun goes down, I can still hear the sound of the 90s town. Now the mirror shows a little gray and the kids all live a different way. But sometimes in the quiet night, I swear I see those headlights. Old friends laughing in the summer heat, echoes running down a back road street. Oh, back when the world was wide and time moved slow. Back in the 90s where the wild winds blow. We were young and wild and unaware how fast life would take us there. Now the years roll by like a midnight train, but those memories never fade away. Yeah, a part of me still walks that ground in a faded dream of a 90s town. Yeah, the years keep rolling like an old song line, but the 90s live forever in my
Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like I said, something that just reminds me of the 90s. So when I grew up, and David, hey, I'm with you on that, man. Where you know what, you never want to truly lose the child part of you as well, because you know what they always say is you don't want to let the old man in. That's what Clint Eastwood says. And look at the guy; he's still going strong, right? So you just don't let the old man in. So that's a philosophy that I still young, but I plan to live by, even when I get up there in age as well. So, hey, look, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. And, you know, it's just a great community. And so this is why I do this. It's fun to just get to sit and chat with you guys and just talk about whatever, but also share some common ground with, conspiracies, cryptids, aliens. And so I just really appreciate you guys hanging out with us and doing that. So appreciate that, Franklin. Jeremy says, what's weird, my daughter wanted me to make me my spirit a conspiracy room. Man, I'm looking forward to talking to you, Jeremy, and learning more about all the stories and getting these out there, because and like I said, I'm gonna, as soon as this ends, I'm gonna go check out that video. Don't let them knock on your door, Chris. You got to fight it off, man. That's awesome, Casey. Yeah, you're definitely enjoy it. You know what? I'm 37. I'll be 38 this year, but I feel like 8 years. I was 38 years ago. I feel like that's feels like a long time, but it's really not. So it goes fast. Enjoy it. Enjoy it all. So yeah, send me that Figgy shoot me an email and I'll check it out. So I can probably look it up too. I'll find it. But what I wanted to kind of end you in with this, for tonight, guys, is I had a mark to kind of say this, and so I've got something prepared. But whether the mysteries are hidden beneath the ice, buried in government files, or locked somewhere beyond our understanding, one truth remains: life moves fast, faster than we expect. None of us are promised tomorrow. That's why faith matters. Not blind fear, not endless conspiracy chasing, but staying awake, questioning the world around us while making sure our soul, our family, and our purpose are not left behind. Because one day the search ends for all of us, and what mattered most won't be the mysteries we uncovered, but how we chose to live while we still had the time. And, I talked to a guy, I go to a men's group. It's a men's church group I go to every Tuesday, and I'm probably the youngest guy that goes there. Bunch of folks that well into their late 70s, 80s, 60s, 50s, 40s. And, I talked to a guy last week. He's 78. He lives here. His son lives in Arizona. And, they didn't have a relationship for the last 38 years. And recently they've come into a relationship, and he told me last week he's going to move closer to his son and spend the rest of his time with him. And I was like, you know what? This is a good word for anybody. If there's something you guys are holding on to, just remember time moves fast. Those relationships matter. Family matters. So you guys make sure you, if anything's holding you back, make sure you get out there and don't let time stop you. Don't push things off till later. Go and do it now. Because time is vast, and it's going to catch up to all of us eventually. So I appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate you being here tonight. So I don't know who that word was for, but I just felt it on my heart how to say that. Just take advantage, guys, of the time you have, and take those relationships, blossom those relationships, help them grow, and don't let anything hold you back. So I appreciate you guys. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. We're going to have a really good episode for you on Friday. Jeremy, David, look forward to talking to both of you guys. David, I'll see you tomorrow night. We're going to have a interview tomorrow night with David. So really looking forward to that. Great guy. And I just appreciate everybody being here. A lot of new faces for me. I'm sure you guys have been around a little bit. But Lady, I appreciate you hanging out with us. Lady Kickboxer, Casey, really appreciate you hanging out. You guys come back. We do this every Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And yeah, you guys are the best part of this show. So I hope each and every one of you have a great night, and God bless. But we can't end the show without telling you, make sure you stay weird, stay rude, and stay alive. We'll see you guys next time.
Back when I was younger, chasing things unseen, running through the back roads, living in between old abandoned houses, graveyards after 10. Thought I was just hunting ghosts, didn't know what I let in. Flashlights in the tree line, cold against my skin. Something in the silence knew exactly where I'd been. I laughed like it was nothing, said I wasn't scared. But the deeper that I wandered, the more I felt it there. There was something in the shadows, something in my soul. And every step I took at night was taking its toll. I was chasing down the into the light, saved my soul that night.